Hey YouTube, just wanted to do a little update on what it takes to turn a regular snowmobile into a nitrous oxide drag sled. A couple of things you might want to do is do some performance upgrades. The faster you go, the more fun you have. So a set of pipes, good set of carbs, and of course, you can always add nitrous oxide. Let me give you a little rundown first before we get to the nitrous of some of the mods I did. Obviously, you need to put skis that have wheels. You can make these, fabricate if you're handy, or you can purchase them. You need to get on your suspension and get an asphalt track. In my case, I went with a 10-inch 121 lug. If you want to get it cool, you could do a couple things. I went and put a radiator, you can see it down there, along with a fan. You can get that shot. And put that through your water hoses. So if you just hook up a switch like this and hit the fan, helps cool in hot weather. If your circulation is a problem with your stock water pump, you can do what I did. Go to a local automotive department, find a good 12-volt water pump, which I got right in here. Hook that up, and then again, find yourself a switch, and you got a nice steady flow of water keeping it cool. Make sure when you're setting up your drag sled that you keep things neat and tidy as possible, as when you get into the higher speeds, things like to move around. So it's important. I've got to do some tie wrapping for wiring, etc. But make sure things are secure so they don't come undone as you're going down the track. I've added this AGM Odyssey Extreme battery in order to, first of all, run my nitrous oxide kit, but also to run the other things that are involved in the sled, like the water pump, like the fan, also the electronic fuel pump that I have down here that feeds solely on the nitrous when it's hit. And you want to do that because you need a dedicated source of fuel when you're running nitrous oxide mixture. I used my oil tank as the main gas tank, and that seems to work really well. It takes a lot of weight off your sled, and that way you can be a little more consistent. As you can see, I've gutted quite a bit of mine out. The seat's back there. I've added a wheelie bar setup, which keeps it going nice and straight. I've never had a problem with the sled pulling one side or another, or lifting more than a half an inch or an inch off the ground, which is great for keeping your ET, and that's what racing is all about. As far as the nitrous oxide, you can see I bought a kit that was designed for up to a 150 shot. I used fogger nozzles, and I drilled into a set of aluminum manifolds that I made and put the fogger nozzles in all 3 cylinders, and then I can do my jetting separately right here. So one is for fuel, the red, and blue in this case is the nitrous oxide injection. How that works is, again, you go up to your switches. This is to arm the system. So once the system is armed, it sets up the fuel pump and your nitrous and fuel solenoids. so that they are hot. They're ready for action. Then what I did was put a in-between switch, which is this one here, and you hear the pump running. This one here is dedicated to go time. When that switch is activated, that means this micro switch right here is ready to shoot. Without that switch on, this switch does nothing, which is kind of important when you're sitting on the line. You don't want any accidents. So nitrous oxide can be very, let's just call it combustible. So when I get to the line and I'm ready to go, I flick that switch, and that way my hand does not get in the way of accidentally tapping that switch. As you can see, my water pump switch is nice and close. So if somebody, let's say on a Hayabusa bike, decides he wants to take a burn down, then I just flip on my power and I have full water flow. The nitrous then shoots off of that one tiny little micro switch. As for my tanks, which are not in right now, but they go right here, and you see there's another bracket right there. That bracket is for nitrogen. I'll show you my tanks over here. This here is my nitrous bottles. They got the separate little unit. And this here is my nitrogen bottle. It's set at 3000 psi. This system is designed to push nitrogen into the nitrous oxide bottle, which then comes out of the nitrous oxide bottle at 1000 psi. So the nitrogen holds the 1000 psi the whole time that you have the trigger engaged all the way down the track, which gives you great consistency. Otherwise, your nitrous bottle will start to fail as you lose pressure. So YouTube, I hope this has helped you. If you're planning on building a drag sled, by all means, you should. They're awesome. They're absolutely the most fun that you can have for the money. Notice there's no seat belts, so always play safe, hang on tight, and enjoy the ride.